In computing, on the X Windows system, X11 color names are represented in a simple text file, which maps certain strings to RGB color values. It is shipped with every X11 installation, hence the name, and is usually located in X11/rgb.txt. The web colors list is descended from it. Color names are not standardized by Xlib or the X11 protocol. The list does not show continuity either in selected color values or in color names, and some color triplets have multiple names. Despite this, graphic designers and others got used to them, making it practically impossible to introduce a different list. In earlier releases of X11, server implementers were encouraged to modify the RGB values in the reference color database to account for gamma correction. The list first shipped with X10 Release 3 on June 7, 1986, having been checked into RCS by Jim Geddes in 1985. The same list was in X11 R1 on September 18, 1987. Approximately the full list as is available today shipped with X11 R4 on January 29, 1989, with substantial additions by Paul Raveling, John C. Thomas and Jim Fulton. The project was running DECVT240 terminals at the time, so would have worked to the device. As of Xorg Release 7.4 rgb.txt is no longer included in the roll-up release, and the list is built directly into the server. The optional module xorg-rgb contains the standalone rgb.txt file. In some applications multi-part names are written with spaces, in others joined together, often in camel case. They are usually matched insensitive of case and the X server source code contains spaced aliases for most entries. This article uses spaces and uppercase initials except where variants with spaces are not specified in the actual code. Clashes between Web and X11 colors. The first versions of Mosaic and Netscape Navigator used the X11 colors as the basis for the web colors list, as both were originally X applications. The W3C specifications SVG and CSS Level 3 module color eventually adopted the X11 list with some changes. It is a superset of the 16 OEVGA color also defined in HTML 3.2 and CSS Level 1. Perhaps most unusual of the color clashes between X11 and W3C is the case of gray. In HTML, gray is specifically reserved for the 128 triplet, that is 50% gray florin. However, in X11, gray was assigned to the 190 triplet, that is 75% florin, which is close to W3C silver florin, and had light gray at 211 florin and dark gray at 169 florin counterparts. This resulted in W3C's gray, at 50%, actually being significantly darker than dark gray, at 66%. Some browsers like Netscape Navigator insisted on an A in any gray except for light gray. The W3C also defined a color that is equal to X11's green, but called it lime. Recent X releases also support the W3C definitions. Conflicting names have a web prefix and there are also aliases with an X11 prefix for disambiguation, that is, X11 green equals green permil web green equals lime. Color name chart. The following chart presents the standardized X11 color names from the Xorg source code. The list of names accepted by browsers following W3C standards slightly differs as explained above. The table does not show numbered gray and brightness variants as described below. Actual rgb.txt files and other color databases or palettes may differ since they are freely editable by vendors and users. The table shows component values in several notations of the RGB color space, that is RGB, HSL and HSV. Conversions are done assuming sRGB color space. Shades of gray. The complete rgb.txt defines 101 shades from gray 0 up to gray 100 in addition to gray and its variants listed above. The shades are apparently defined by the formula grayn equals round, n%, 255, resulting in, for example, gray 96 florin, which happens to be the same as white smoke. Similarly dim gray is the same as gray 41 florin. On the other hand, grey Euroflorin lies between grey 74 Euroflorin and grey 75 Euroflorin. Dark grey Euroflorin is not the same as grey 66 Euroflorin. And light grey Euroflorin is not the same as grey 83 Euroflorin. These shades are not included in W3C specifications, although drafts for level 4 of the CSS color module include a similar function grey. They are still coded without grey alternatives, but with no space before the digit. Color variations equals numbered variants equals, for 78 colors, rgb.txt offers 4 variants: a euro sh euro color 1, a euro sh euro, a euro sh euro color 2, a euro sh euro, a euro sh euro color 3, a euro sh euro, and a euro sh euro color 4, a euro sh euro, with a euro sh euro color 1, a euro sh euro sometimes corresponding to a euro sh euro color, a euro sh euro. So, for example, Snow 1 is the same as Snow. Unlike base colors, for example Cadet Blue and Cadet Blue, these are only coded without spaces, for example Cadet Blue 3. These variations are neither supported by popular browsers nor adopted by W3C standards. Whether or not a certain color has such variants seems random. If a euro sh euro color 1, a euro sh euro is not the same as a euro sh euro color, a euro sh euro, the base color is usually darker. That means its brightness in HSB color notation is less than 100%. About 30 of the base colors are fully bright. The 4 variants have rounded brightness values of 100%, 93%, 80% and 55%, respectively. Their hue and saturation are usually the same except for rounding. In some cases they differ from the base color, though, which may indicate that these variants were specified with alternate definitions of the bases in mind, that is, their values were adapted to a certain monitor, which was commonly done by vendors until the 1990s. The fixed brightness settings correspond closely to these formulae to determine the RGB values. Color 1 equals color A, 100%, color 2 equals color 1 A, 93.2%, color 3 equals color 1 A, 80.4%, color 4 equals color 1 A, 54.8%. Examples: a Euroflorin yellow 2 feet is based on a Euroflorin yellow with 255 A, 0.932 equals 237.66. A Euroflorin ivory 3 feet is explained by a Euroflorin ivory where 255 A, 0.804 equals 205.02 and 240 A, 0.804 equals 192.96. A Euroflorin azure 4 feet is close to a Euroflorin azure values transformed as 255 A, 0.548 equals 139.74 and 240 A, 0.548 equals 131.52. Equals prefixed variants equals, some color names appear to be brightness or saturation modifications of others because they bear prefixes such as dark, light, medium, pale or deep, but there is no systematic variation apparent. Several sets, however, feature a dark variant with 55% brightness and some have their medium at about 80%. Light goldenrod yellow and dark olive green are special, because there are no corresponding color entries without dark and light prefixes. See also, List of colors, XPM. References. External links, X server source code with built-in colors, a Euro-OE extended color keywords, a Euro, CSS color module level 3, a W3C recommendation. X11 rgb.txt 1.1 at xfree86.org, 1994, and X11 rgb.txt 1.2, 2005. Aubrey Jaffa. A Euro-OE color name dictionaries. A Euro. Jaffa's self-published page includes extensive information about and comparisons between color name dictionaries.